Erbil, northern Iraq. It's a region trying to move on from the difficulties of its recent past. War, sectarianism, terrorism. The security situation here still lies on a knife edge.
Some might be surprised to learn the British Army is active here 20 years on from the invasion of Iraq. But today, it's strictly by the invitation of the Iraqi government.
Working as part of a multinational military operation called Operation Inherent Resolve, the ultimate mission is to defeat Daesh, the so-called Islamic State.
Well, we're part of the global coalition of 86 nations that have been invited into Iraq to really complete the defeat of Daesh in Iraq and Syria. The battalion here sends out a force protection to support the advisory mission, and that's what the team here predominantly contribute to, whether that's on vehicles or whether that's in helicopters.
It sounds complicated, but essentially here at the base in Erbil, there are senior officers and officials who sometimes have to go out there, beyond the wire. And when that happens, British soldiers provide protection. And they do so in one of these things. It's called a CAV, a civilian armoured vehicle.
The battalion currently providing their services is 1 Royal Yorks. This is the first time the Army's allowed any media to visit the British base in Iraq in almost 5 years. Forces News was given exclusive access to witness firsthand the role of the UK personnel deployed here. Today's task is to escort a senior military officer from the Netherlands who is heading out into Erbil to meet officials about the recruitment and retention of local soldiers, an organisation called the Peshmerga. Being British and all, the soldiers even hold the door open for their special guest. It's all part of the service. But what's the job actually like?
In my multiple, basically we've got the drive teams, which is a commander and then a driver, and then on the other side of that there's the dismounted soldiers, which are basically the force protection element. So the driver is basically focused on, he's the master of his vehicle. The commander's, the one sort of his second set of eyes on the road, but responsible for navigation, comms to the rest of the vehicles and sort of back to base. And the dismount team are providing sort of any extra information they can in the background. They're looking out for, any potential threats, any potential information they can gather. And then when we arrive on scene, sort of the drivers and the commanders will park the vehicles to a secure location. It'll be over to the dismounted team to provide any sort of force protection for the people we're escorting around. So yeah, basically that's what we've provided, an armoured force protection service.
Completely unexpected when I first got out here. It's just a completely different compared to back in the UK and stuff like that. Completely different backgrounds and stuff like that.
Is it what you expected?
No, not at all. It's a lot more homely than I'd thought it'd be. Stuff like integrating with the lads and stuff like that, and everyone's together, so it's gone really well so far.
The British base is called Camp Zorbash. It's a sort of base within a base. And as a unit, as much as possible, 1 Royal Yorks has to be self-sufficient. There's a RIMI Light Aid detachment, and of course, a medical centre. It's here where the worries of keeping everybody fit and healthy are managed by the doctor and his team of medics.
Well, like many places that we deploy to, infectious disease is a big concern, particularly things like diarrhoea and vomiting. It spreads very easily in the UK, it can spread very easily out here and really affect the operation. From a med perspective specifically, I hope that we don't really need to get that involved with outbreak management, because it's really all about good soldiering at the basics, the hand hygiene and that education piece that happens both in the UK and when people come into theatre, understanding how to make sure that they are not at risk of picking up a diarrhoea and vomiting bug.
So this is the armoured ambulance, and we take it on Bravo and Charlie patrol. Yeah, so I'm just preparing to go out on a patrol, so we take these wagons on Bravo or Charlie patrols, which are basically longer distance, so it's further away from obviously the medical care. So I'm just getting all the kit, medical equipment ready on patrol, make sure it's all ready to go before we actually set off for patrol.
Welfare is a priority too. There's lots of opportunities for the soldiers to unwind when they're not on patrol. Food's provided by the Americans, the soldiers hone their skills at table tennis. But it's the gymnasium where many of the troops can be found in the early evening time once the temperature cools, participating in what's jokingly referred to as Op Massive.
Ping pong tables, American cookhouses, it's easy to forget that we are in a potentially hostile environment. But every now and again you come across these things. It's a protection shelter, and it's designed to keep soldiers safe should there be an enemy attack. The likes of indirect fire, or the very modern threat of a bomb drone.
Of course, it's not just the British working here. Alongside our personnel, dozens of nations contribute to the overall task of defeating Daesh.
Yes, I'm from Germany, and our part in the CJTF-OIR mission is to advise the partner forces with 13 nations in the military advisory group MAC-North.
Well, currently I work as the admin NCO for the military advisory group North.
And how's the tour going?
It's good. I'm pretty acclimated to the heat. The heat's not a big concern for me. Being away from home is tough. It's the longest I've ever been away from family.
And for One Royal Yorks, there's ample opportunity to work closely with some of these international partners. Take this joint UK-Estonian Range Day, for example, designed to allow the troops to conduct small arms training in the midst of an operational tour.
Today we are doing some cooperation with the British troops. We set up a range day. We are shooting live fires. Basically it's a single soldier shootout, nothing very complicated. It just gives us the ability to get to know each other a little better, introduce different weaponry, and maybe discuss daily operations in a more friendly environment.
It's a grand coalition, and they're all contributing in different ways. Importantly though, and it was stressed to me again and again, it's work that's appreciated by the Kurdish-Iraqis. But it's bound to be costly, and with the interchangeability of governments, there's likely elections on both sides of the Atlantic next year. How long is the UK committed to operations in Iraq?
Well, I don't know about our long-term prospects here, but in the short term, we're fully committed to this, and we look forward. I have a successor for me coming in, and we look forward to really trying to build a Peshmerga to ensure that Daesh doesn't return in any capacity.
Deployments in potentially hostile environments are less common than they were a generation of soldiers ago. For this company of infantrymen, the opportunity to serve on operations in Iraq, wearing on their sleeves proudly the flashes associated with their rich regimental history, the battalion's time on Ops Shader will mean a lot. It also means a lot to their international partners, but perhaps most importantly, it means a lot to the people of northern Iraq, who, less than a decade ago, faced the brutality and barbarity of Daesh. And that's what this deployment is really about. James Wharton, Forces News, Erbil. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.